a hidden psychology behind your money decisions, why you're broke, and how to fix it. You know that feeling when you check your bank account and wonder where all your money went? You're not alone. What if I told you that your financial struggles aren't really about math or budgets, but about something much deeper happening in your mind? Today, we're going to uncover the hidden psychology behind every money decision you make. By the end of this video, you'll understand why your brain sabotages your financial success and exactly how to rewire it for wealth. This isn't just another budgeting tip video. This is about understanding the psychological operating system that controls your relationship with money. Most people think being broke is about not having enough income. They're wrong. The real problem is that your subconscious mind is running financial programming that was installed when you were a child. These mental programs are quietly sabotaging every financial decision you make, and you don't even realize it's happening. Let me start with something that might surprise you. The average person makes over 35,000 decisions every single day. About 200 of those decisions directly impact your finances. From whether you buy that morning coffee to how you react when you see a sale notification on your phone. Each decision is influenced by psychological patterns that were formed years ago. Here's what's really happening in your brain when you make financial decisions. There are three main psychological systems at work. The first is your emotional brain, which seeks immediate pleasure and avoids pain. The second is your rational brain, which tries to plan and analyze. The third is your subconscious programming, which runs automatically based on beliefs formed in childhood. When these three systems conflict, your emotional brain usually wins. That's why you can logically know you should save money, but still find yourself making impulsive purchases. Your emotional brain sees something you want and triggers a chemical response that overrides your logical thinking. Understanding financial psychology starts with recognizing that money isn't just numbers on a screen. Money represents security, freedom, status, love, and power. When you understand what money means to you emotionally, you can start to see why you make the decisions you do. Let's talk about the most common money psychology patterns that keep people stuck. The first is what I call the scarcity mindset. If you grew up hearing phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees, or we can't afford that, your subconscious learned that money is limited and hard to come by. This creates anxiety around spending and actually blocks you from earning more. People with scarcity mindset often hoard money when they have it, but they also tend to panic spend when they feel stressed. They might save every penny for months, then blow it all on something they don't really need because the pressure becomes too much. The second pattern is the worthiness block. Deep down, many people don't believe they deserve financial success. Maybe you were taught that wanting money is greedy or that good people shouldn't care about wealth. This creates internal conflict every time you try to improve your finances. Here's how the worthiness block shows up. You might self-sabotage right before a big financial breakthrough. You get close to a promotion, then do something that messes it up. Or you start a business, then find reasons to quit just as it's gaining momentum. Your subconscious is protecting you from having more than you think you deserve. The third pattern is emotional spending. This is when you use money to regulate your emotions instead of meeting actual needs. You had a bad day at work, so you buy something to feel better. You're stressed about a relationship, so you go shopping to distract yourself. You're celebrating good news, so you spend money you don't have. Emotional spending feels good in the moment, but it creates a cycle that's hard to break. You spend money to feel better, then feel guilty about spending, which makes you feel worse, which makes you want to spend more to feel better again. Now let's talk about impulsive buying, because this is where most people lose control of their finances. Your brain is wired to seek immediate gratification. When you see something you want, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical involved in addiction. This creates a powerful urge to buy now and worry about consequences later. Retailers know this and design their stores and websites to trigger these impulses. They use colors, music, lighting, and psychological tricks to make you want to buy things you didn't plan to purchase. Online shopping is even worse because it removes the physical act of handing over money, making spending feel less real. The key to controlling impulsive buying is understanding your personal triggers. Do you shop when you're bored, stressed, happy, sad? Once you know your patterns, you can create strategies to interrupt them. Here's a simple technique that works incredibly well. When you feel the urge to buy something, stop and ask yourself three questions. First, do I actually need this or do I just want it? Second, how will I feel about this purchase tomorrow? Third, what emotion am I trying to satisfy with this purchase? If you can't answer these questions clearly, wait 24 hours before buying. Most impulse purchases lose their appeal when you give yourself time to think. For bigger purchases, extend this to a week or even a month. Let's dive deeper into the psychology of money and status. One of the biggest drivers of financial stress is trying to keep up with other people's lifestyles. Social media makes this worse because you're constantly seeing highlight reels of other people's lives. You see their vacations, their new cars, their expensive dinners, and you feel like you're falling behind. This creates what psychologists call lifestyle inflation. As your income increases, your spending increases even faster because you feel entitled to live at a certain level. You justify expensive purchases because you deserve them or because everyone else has them. The psychology of status spending is particularly dangerous because it's never ending. There's always someone with more, something newer, something better. You can spend your entire life chasing status symbols and never feel satisfied. Rich people think differently about money and status. They understand that true wealth isn't about looking rich, it's about having options. They focus on building assets instead of collecting liabilities. They think long term instead of seeking immediate gratification. Here's how to start thinking like wealthy people. First, stop measuring your worth by your possessions. Your car, your clothes, your house don't define your value as a person. Second, start thinking about money as a tool for creating freedom, not just for buying things. Third, focus on building multiple income streams instead of just trying to spend less. The wealthy also understand the power of delayed gratification. They're willing to sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term gain. This isn't about being cheap or depriving yourself. It's about being intentional with your money so you can have more choices later. Let me share something that might change how you think about saving money. Most people approach saving backwards. They try to save whatever's left after they spend. This almost never works because there's usually nothing left. Instead, pay yourself first. Save money before you pay any bills or make any purchases. Start with just 1% of your income. If you make $50,000 a year, that's $500. Put it in a separate account that you don't touch. Once you get comfortable with 1%, increase it to 2%, then 3%. Work your way up to saving at least 20% of your income. The psychology behind paying yourself first is powerful. When you save money first, you're telling your subconscious that you're worth investing in. You're also creating a habit of living below your means, which is essential for building wealth. Financial stress affects every area of your life. When you're worried about money, you can't think clearly. You make poor decisions. Your relationships suffer. Your health declines. You're constantly in survival mode instead of growth mode. Breaking free from financial stress requires addressing both the practical and psychological aspects of money. On the practical side, you need to understand where your money goes. Create a spending plan and build emergency savings. On the psychological side, you need to identify and change the mental patterns that created your financial problems. Here's a powerful exercise for changing your money mindset. Every morning, write down 3 things you're grateful for that didn't cost money. This trains your brain to find satisfaction and joy in things that don't require spending. It also helps you realize that many of the best things in life are free. Also, start paying attention to your internal dialogue about money. What do you say to yourself when we check your bank account? How do you talk about wealthy people? What beliefs do you have about money and success? These thoughts create your financial reality. If you catch yourself thinking negative thoughts about money, challenge them. Instead of I can't afford this, try how can I afford this? Instead of money is hard to come by, try money flows easily to me. Your subconscious believes what you repeatedly tell it. Let's talk about the psychology of debt, because this is where many people get stuck. Debt isn't just a financial problem, it's an emotional and psychological burden. When you owe money, you're not just paying interest, you're paying with your freedom and peace of mind. The psychology of debt is complex. For some people, debt represents failure and shame. They avoid looking at their statements and hope the problem will somehow go away. For others, debt feels like free money. They don't fully grasp that they're borrowing from their future selves. If you're struggling with debt, the first step is to face it honestly. Write down exactly how much you owe and to whom. Calculate how much you're paying in interest every month. This might be scary, but you can't solve a problem you won't acknowledge. Next, understand that debt is often a symptom of deeper psychological issues. Maybe you use credit cards to maintain a lifestyle you can't afford. Maybe you never learned to delay gratification. Maybe you're trying to fill an emotional void with material things. The most effective way to pay off debt is to tackle it systematically. List all your debts from smallest to largest. Pay the minimum on everything. Then put all extra money toward the smallest debt. When that's paid off, move to the next smallest. This is called the debt snowball method, and it works because it gives you psychological wins along the way. Now let's explore the relationship between money and emotions. Your emotions drive most of your financial decisions, often without you realizing it. Fear might make you hoard money or avoid investing. Anger might make you make impulsive purchases. Sadness might make you spend money trying to feel better. Learning to manage your emotions is crucial for financial success. When you feel a strong emotion, pause before making any money decisions. Ask yourself what you're really feeling and what you're trying to accomplish. Often, the thing you want to buy won't actually solve the underlying emotional issue. Wealthy people have learned to separate their emotions from their money decisions. They might feel excited about a new car, but they don't buy it unless it makes financial sense. They might feel nervous about investing, but they do it anyway because they understand the long-term benefits. Here's a technique for making better financial decisions. Before any significant purchase, sleep on it. During that time, imagine two futures. In one future, you make the purchase. In the other, you don't. Which future feels better? Which aligns better with your long-term goals? The psychology of investing is particularly important because building wealth requires putting your money to work. Many people avoid investing because they're afraid of losing money. But the biggest risk isn't losing money in the market. It's losing purchasing power to inflation by keeping money in savings accounts. Your attitude toward risk affects every financial decision you make. If you're too conservative, you won't grow your wealth fast enough. If you're too aggressive, you might lose money you can't afford to lose. The key is finding the right balance for your situation and gradually becoming more comfortable with calculated risks. Start investing small amounts so you can learn without risking too much. Put $50 or $100 into a diversified index fund every month. Watch what happens. Learn how the market works. As you become more comfortable, you can increase your investments. Let's talk about the psychology of earning more money. Most people focus on cutting expenses when they want to improve their finances. While controlling spending is important, there's a limit to how much you can cut. There's no limit to how much you can earn. The difference between people who earn more and those who don't isn't usually talent or education. It's mindset. People who earn more believe they deserve more. They're willing to ask for raises, start side businesses, and invest in their skills. They see opportunities where others see obstacles. If you want to earn more money, start by increasing your value to others. What skills could you develop that would make you more valuable to employers or clients? What problems could you solve that people would pay for? How could you serve others better? Don't just think about your current job. Think about all the ways you could generate income. Could you freelance in your spare time? Could you start a small business? Could you create passive income streams? The more income sources you have, the more secure you'll be. Your relationship with money affects every other relationship in your life. Money fights are one of the leading causes of divorce. Financial stress can damage friendships and family relationships. Learning to communicate about money clearly and honestly is essential for healthy relationships. If you're in a relationship, have regular money conversations with your partner. Talk about your financial goals, fears, and dreams. Be honest about your spending habits and debt. Work together to create a financial plan that works for both of you. Remember that you and your partner might have different money personalities. One of you might be a spender while the other is a saver. One might be willing to take risks while the other prefers security. These differences can be strengths if you learn to work with them instead of against them. The psychology of financial success isn't just about making money. It's about creating a life that aligns with your values and gives you the freedom to make choices. Money is a tool for creating the life you want, not the end goal itself. Think about what financial success means to you personally. Is it about security, freedom, status, adventure? Once you're clear on your why, it becomes easier to make financial decisions that support your goals. Here's something most people don't understand about building wealth. It's not about making one big score or getting lucky. It's about making small, consistent decisions over time. It's about choosing to save instead of spend, to invest instead of consume, to delay gratification instead of seeking immediate pleasure. The compound effect applies to both money and habits. Small actions repeated over time create massive results. Saving $100 a month doesn't seem like much, but over 30 years at 7% interest, it becomes over $100,000. The key is starting now and being consistent. Let's talk about some practical strategies for implementing what you've learned. First, audit your current financial situation. Know exactly how much you earn, how much you spend, and where your money goes. You can't improve what you don't measure. Second, identify your money triggers. What situations make you want to spend money? What emotions lead to financial decisions you regret? Once you know your triggers, you can create strategies to manage them. Third, automate your finances as much as possible. Set up automatic transfers to savings and investment accounts. Use automatic bill pay to avoid late fees. The less you have to think about routine financial tasks, the more mental energy you'll have for important decisions. Fourth, educate yourself about personal finance. Read books, watch videos, take courses. The more you understand about money, the better decisions you'll make. Financial literacy is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. Fifth, surround yourself with people who have healthy relationships with money. If your friends are always complaining about being broke or pressuring you to spend money you don't have, it's time to expand your social circle. Remember that changing your financial psychology is a process, not an event. You've been thinking about money in certain ways for your entire life. It will take time to change these patterns. Be patient with yourself and celebrate small victories along the way. The most important thing to understand is that you have more control over your financial future than you might think. Your past financial mistakes don't define you. Your current financial situation doesn't have to be permanent. With the right mindset and strategies, you can create the financial life you want. Start today with one small action. Maybe it's setting up an automatic transfer to savings. Maybe it's tracking your expenses for a week. Maybe it's having an honest conversation with your partner about money. Whatever it is, start now. Your future self will thank you for taking action today. The psychology of money is powerful, but so are you. You have the ability to understand your patterns, change your habits, and create a wealthy mindset. The question isn't whether you can do it. The question is whether you will. If this video helped you understand your relationship with money better, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. We create content like this every week to help you understand the psychology behind your behaviors and give you practical tools for creating positive change. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. We all know people who are struggling financially, and often they just need to understand that their problems aren't really about money. They're about psychology. Understanding is the first step to change. Check out our other videos on building confidence, improving relationships, and creating a life you want. Everything is connected. When you understand the psychology behind your behaviors, you can change any area of your life. Remember, you're not broken. You're not bad with money. You just have some mental programming that's no longer serving you. With awareness and effort, you can reprogram your mind for financial success. The life you want is possible. The question is what you're going to do about it.